The Tale of Solo, a Star Wars story, is going to be one filled with a bunch of disappointments. Now, I'm not talking about the movie myself. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I know many fans enjoyed it. I know many of my friends that went with me to see it on repeat viewings also enjoyed it. But here we're going to talk about the impact of the box office and exactly how and maybe even why this movie crashed and burned harder than anybody thought. So originally, it was supposed to open this Memorial Day with $130 to $150 million according to estimates. And then the movie came out. Thursday, it did pretty good. And then the Friday numbers came in where it only made $35.6 million. Now, the weekend total is clocking in just over at $100 million at $101 million from over 4,300 locations around the US. Now, of course, this is one of those things where it's considered a 4-day weekend because of Memorial Day, and typically Memorial Day does see the box office suffer, so it's going to be one of those things where the weekend is actually reported as a 4-day thing, but we're looking at it in the traditional sense of the 3-day, where still, any way you cut it, any way you slice it, this is a big disappointment. Now, of course, this giant box office disappointment is going to, I think, lead to a lot of analysis of what exactly happened, and as I've stated multiple times, you don't need to analyze anything. Everybody knows what happened. I don't think it's Star Wars fatigue at all. I think we should remove that out of the equation. That's not what happened. What happened is having a stacked 4 weeks that's literally too much for people to be able to afford to see all of these movies. And just looking at how much money Avengers Infinity War has made and continues to make quite clearly impacted this movie along with Deadpool. And you have to just take a seat back and wonder, how has Hollywood not learned its lesson from what happened with the original Avengers? I mean, just think about what was going on. That movie crushed everything in its wake. Infinity War, the moment that movie started tracking for over $200 million, everybody, including Disney and Lucasfilm, should have known that it would impact their own movie. And when you really just think about it, I think this movie just had a lot going against it, along with pretty much everything out there, and I think it's going to be a really hard lesson for a lot of people in Hollywood, specifically Disney themselves, because I can tell you they definitely didn't want this movie to fail. I mean, just looking at when they lifted the embargo and how early they screened it, they were very comfortable with it, and just going into it now and looking at how it's performed, and knowing that's the most expensive Star Wars they've ever made, this is going to be one of those movies where if they break even, it's going to be rough. So, I mean, it's all going to be down to the second weekend, but I don't think it's going to improve, honestly.